Hi everyone, welcome back to the new Studio D channel. My name is still Danica. I have not legally changed it in the last week, and I am still the co-founder of Studio D and the founder of Danica Inc. So if you haven't seen our last videos yet, I would highly recommend you go check them out first. We will link them above because right now this month we're going over our pillars and kind of the fundamental concepts of what Studio D is doing, why it's different, and why you should be getting your butt into our DMs to talk to us about it. So with that said, we've already done lifestyle management. Pillar 2 is expert intervention. And so today, just like the title said, we're going to talk about the two types of people that you are giving way too much power to over your health. So the first one, I'm not going to make any friends. I feel like that's going to be my standing caveat as we go through this process. But the first group of people that I'm saying maybe you're giving a little bit too much power over you to is your fitness influencers in your life. Now, hear me out. This is actually more people than you probably think it is, because I'm gonna define this pretty broadly here. So obviously you have your Instagram influencers, your Instagram nutritionists, your YouTube nutritionists, and your YouTube personal trainers. And I'm on here kind of as a YouTube personal trainer. But let me tell you a thing. So first and foremost, when you're buying pre-made, pre-packaged programs, this is just like what I talked about in our group fitness classes kind of conversation in that first video, which is that content isn't made for you. That content is made to address a series of themes that this trainer has decided or this nutritionist has decided is easy to kind of bundle together thematically and sell to you. Right? That's not for you. It doesn't address your realities. It doesn't address your lived experience. It doesn't address your restrictions or any of your life, which is mind-blowing to me. And the other part is that a lot of these people online, and I'm an online person, so don't hate me too much, but they're not registered professionals in any capacity, right? There's a difference between a nutritionist and a dietitian. A dietitian has a degree in nutrition. A nutritionist isn't legally defined, and anyone with zero schooling or certifications can define themselves as a nutritionist. I don't know if you didn't know that, but that's your fun fact for the day. That's your fun takeaway. And just because somebody has a degree in one thing doesn't mean they're an expert in the other. So even when we were doing the run through on this, I was talking to the girls about this amazing personal trainer who's on YouTube, who shall not be named, who is an engineer. And so loves to say, I'm using science to validate my claims to you. And my response is, I am married to an engineer. And I can tell you with as much love in my heart as possible, and if he watches this video, I hope he doesn't murder me in half. Love you. That he has not taken a biology class since grade 9. And the boy cannot vet the strengths or weaknesses of a biology or health paper to save his life. It doesn't mean he's not good at science, but not the same, and doesn't have the academic backing to actually be able to discern whether or not the scientific rigor in that paper is of value and something worth engaging in. I'm so sorry if that's more tea than you were anticipating, but it's just the cold hard truth. The other influencer that I'm going to talk about, and again, it's going to get me in a little bit of trouble, but it's your spin class instructor who's an influencer in their own right, and we love them, and I love going to group fitness, and I teach group fitness, and I count as a fitness influencer in some capacity. But most of your spin class or yoga class or whatever, if they don't have registered designations to their name, they've taken a weekend course or they've taken a couple week-long course. Maybe they've taken a few months in that designation they're teaching you, but that does not extrapolate to the broader health self. Yeah, I'm real sorry about that. Oh, okay. So now to completely pivot on that and prove that there's just no pleasing me because I'm a researcher at heart and just chronically cranky, is your certified professionals that you're trusting with your health. And I know, right? We're on a clinics channel. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So obviously there's more to this story than what I'm saying. So what I am trying to say with this is when you go in for an appointment in a traditional clinical setting, you go in, you do an intake form, whether it's a physio or a massage or a chiropractor. They figure out what your aches, pains, and ailments are. You accept treatment and you leave. Part of me wonders how long I can hold this awkward silence for, but how is that addressing anything? Right? Like, that's mind blowing. If you go in and see a massage therapist, that doesn't mean that that's not a valuable experience for you. But if that massage therapist isn't automatically going, I know an AT, I know a kin guy or a kin gal or any of those other things, then you're not actually getting a full plan or program that's curated for your realities. That massage therapist, and I'm not picking on massage therapists, I love massage therapists, but they have a really specific role to play. And if you just go, I'm seeing massage and that's enough for my health, I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but you're going to be chronically dependent on that person forever because you're not actually addressing the underlying root issues. And so when we were kind of prepping for this, one of the things we talked about, because I'm a social science person who studies power dynamics, so like, let's get a little bit nerdy here. This is the thing I'm an expert in. Power is really obtuse. So true power is something that can't really be pinpointed according to specific scholarly definitions. Just like, I'm going to get political. So just like I could not go out and have one person assassinated and topple the patriarchy, that's not a thing I can do because it's more nuanced and throughout culture than that. You can't also just magically topple all of the power dynamics between a practitioner or a fitness instructor and yourself. And so when we think about, how do we empower our patients? How do we empower ourselves to take action and have power over our own health decisions? That's actually a really loaded and complicated question. And so the first thing that I can hold space for you to do is have these conversations on the internet with you that are like, girl or guy, these are things you need to know. When your massage therapist treats you, it's within the scope of their practice. It's not at your greater health that they're looking at. When your chiropractor treats you, it's specifically within the scope of their practice. It is not the greater health body. It's not your full life. And legally, that's the limit. That's what they have to follow because a chiropractor cannot give you a massage. They're not a massage therapist. Your massage therapist cannot do a neck adjustment on you. That's not allowed. And so when we think about who then is ultimately thinking about your lived experience, your reality, your health the most, who's most qualified to comment on whether or not it feels good, whether or not it suits you, whether or not the treatment is working, that's you. So the person who you should be listening to the most about your health is yourself. When you work with a nutritionist who's like, just eat these 5 things every day, but they're not taking into account that maybe you're allergic to those things, or you just feel funny, or you don't like to exercise after you eat those things, then that's not useful counsel, and it's not actually contributing to your health. When you go and see a physical therapist, a physio who's in a chop shop of physiotherapy, don't come for me. You can probably come for me. That's fine. Kate's going to fix this afterwards. Thank you, Kate. Lots of hearts today. Usually because I'm seeing some pretty outrageous things. But when you go into those, I call them chop shops because you actually only see a physio for 5 minutes and it's your minimum wage paid physio assistant who's actually doing your practicing. And it's just stuff that comes out of a box that's standard operating procedure. And they're not even asking you how it feels, what it's like, whether or not you feel like you're doing it right. That means they're not actually treating you. They're just running you through hoops. And so as the person who's pursuing healthfulness, as the person who's paying for treatment, no one's told you this unless you have great family. And if you have great family, you should go high five them after this. But your health is up for you to advocate for. And so when I founded Danica Inc. and Studio D, one of the big differences that people were right away, they would have perfect form on the outside. And they'd be like, yeah, but when I squat, it hurts my knees. And so I would have to ask, where do you feel you are working when you do a squat? And people would be like, oh, and they would touch the top of their thighs. And so then I would go, where do you think you're supposed to work when you do a squat? And people would be like, well, I'm doing glutes today. I'm like, well, are you feeling it there? I'm like, no. I'm like, cool. That is the most important thing you could tell me in this conversation. It's not about how far apart your feet are or how far apart your knees are or any of that stuff. Ultimately, your body is unique and you are the only person who can communicate whether or not the thing you're doing is working for you. And that is so important. And so at Studio D, so much of our model is built around empowering you to be informed enough so that we are out of a job in short order because you know how your body is supposed to feel. And that's what working with experts in their field should do for you. And that's who we attract at Studio D. So if you have questions, comments, concerns, doubts, queries, or things you'd like to throw at me after this conversation, let's engage. Let's do it. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've had any experiences with physical practitioners who have or have not helped you on your journey. If you think there's somebody else on this platform that we should be talking to because they are amazing and you think that their prepackaged programming is the bee's knees, drop it down below. We would love to review that for you. Not just like in a mean, sarcastic way, but like actually, if there's great programming out there, we want to know. And Kate will be on here. What day is it today? Friday? She'll be on Monday at 4:45, same time, to actually talk a little bit more productively and not just being a negative Nancy about how Studio D does expert intervention so that you are in charge of your own health. Awesome. If you like what we're up to, subscribe, turn on the notifications, like, drop a comment, follow us on all of our other social. I think my bosses have left the instructions for how to do that below because I'm not the boss anymore. So yeah, thanks for joining me today, and I will see you guys all next week after you see Kate. Bye.